Well, with all the talk about voting in the upcoming election, it certainly can be easy to get confused with it all. So here to tell us and remind us some of the basics about absentee voting here in Michigan is attorney Tom Sinas of Sinas Dramus Law Firm. Tom, first and foremost, generally speaking, let's talk about how absentee voting here in Michigan works.
Well, thanks, Derek. Obviously, we've been hearing a lot about the election and a lot about voting, and a lot of different words and phrases have been thrown out. And I thought, it's probably a good time to remind us of some basic fundamentals of how voting here in Michigan works. We hear people talk about things like mail-in voting or universal mail-in voting or the like, but that is not what we have here. We have a system that is referred to as no reason absentee voting. And how do we have it? Well, we don't have it because the politicians decided that we should have it. We have it because the people chose to have it. 67% of voters in 2018 voted in favor of a proposition called Proposition 3. And it's Proposition 3 that now creates a system in Michigan where not only can you vote absentee, meaning you don't have to go to the polls, but you don't have to have a reason to vote absentee. And that really is the hallmark difference of what we have in Michigan now compared to other states and compared to what we had in years before.
Yeah, Tom, it's really amazing to think we voted on this just 2 years ago. And here we are obviously dealing with a pandemic. So it certainly comes into play big time this year, just 2 years later. What do people keep in mind if they're voting absentee this year, Tom?
Well, I think two words to keep in mind are request and deliver. Because we are a no reason absentee voting state, you have to request an absentee ballot. One is not just going to show up if you do nothing. And if you get one, you have to deliver it. So as far as requesting, I recommend that people go to the Michigan Secretary of State's website and look about how to request. But for example, if you're registered at your current address, you can request an absentee voter ballot in person at your clerk's office up until 4 o'clock the day before the election. If you're registering to vote or updating your address by appearing at the clerk's office on election day, you can request an absentee ballot at the time you register. Once you've got that absentee ballot, you've got to make sure you deliver it. You can do it by mail, you can do it in person, or you can do it in a drop box. I think given everything that we've heard about potential delays in the mail, the overarching lesson here is whatever you're going to do it early. If you are going to vote absentee, make sure you request it early. And then once you get the ballot, make sure you develop a plan for delivering it early. For example, I just got my absentee ballot, and it tells me that if I'm going to put it in the mail, I need to do that 15 days before election. And that really just speaks to the very fact that you got to request and deliver that ballot early to make sure that your vote is counted.
Good advice, Tom. Where do people track you down that need more information on this or anything else legal-wise?
Well, I think on the screen you'll have our firm's website and our phone number, but really I would encourage people not to visit us, but to visit the Secretary of State's website. There's a lot of great information there about voting, and there's also a special website called the Michigan Voter Information Center where you can actually track your ballot to make sure that it was delivered in time to be counted.
All right, Tom, good stuff as always. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks, Derek.